we like people to have at least one semester worth of grades earned, so we don't necessarily think it's the best for a first semester freshman to go that second semester because they don't have any grades, they're still getting adjusted. So usually, you know, sophomore or junior, seniors can go too. It can be harder for them to find, you know, if they I was like, oh, I can't graduate if I get this physics class or something like that. So the timing, I would say, most majors, it's still junior year is a good time. Mm-hmm. In terms of planning, you know, you don't have to apply until about a semester out, but I think planning, it's like you're planning it out a year ahead of time just because you want to spread out some of those costs too. You want to get a passport, and, you know, it's $100 to get a passport, and then it's good for 10 years, but it's a little paperwork thing, and you're in the middle of the semester, and it's like just one of those things that you can do, and so you start planning it out, and then you can be like, oh, my parents could give me a guidebook for Christmas, or, you know, you can kind of, if you have like a year just to sort of be planning it out, I think it fits a lot better, especially with academic. And then when you're planning out like a year in advance, you know, then you can say, oh, there's the Gilman is, you know, the deadline is this, and so you can kind of have that in the back of your mind that there's this big scholarship that you want to be planning for.
Okay, and in fact, we'll go back, I guess, to financial aid now. First of all, let's talk about specifically what the Gilman is.
The Gilman is a federal scholarship. I think it's funded by, it's U.S. Department of Education, and there's like a cultural, forgetting the name. And it's administered by an organization called Institute of International Education. So they're the administrator. So the money comes from Congress, and so it's a federal money. And then it's specifically it's trying to help what they consider low-income students to study abroad. It's also trying to help non-traditional students study abroad, or people going to non-traditional countries, non-traditional majors. And it's really non-traditional in the sense of study abroad. Because study abroad, we always can send a social science major to Europe. That's right. Been how it's always been. Whereas it's more difficult for us to send an engineer. It's not as common for students to go to Asia or India or developing countries or even Latin America, or an engineer to go to Mexico. You know, those are... So they're trying to encourage, and they're just trying to encourage diversity, and they want, you know, ideally, they want, you know, as many different students to have access to study abroad. So they define low income, it's like you have to be getting a Pell Grant to be able to apply. Okay. So as long as you're getting a Pell Grant, students are eligible to apply. And then the non-traditional, it's really, you know,
like me.
Sometimes it's a major, sometimes it's an interesting you know, it's just kind of, I do... You know, I think students still get them for. I had a guy who got it for Canada, who got a Gilman for Canada, and so, so it's just, you know, if someone wants to apply, I mean, if they want to go to Spain, that's still fine.
Right. Well, and that was the thing that I would tell people too. You know, what they say on their website is it would be really great if you studied these more. How can we say it? The languages that we really need right now. But that's
critical languages.
Yes, that's not what I need, but I applied anyway, and I got it. You know, and so I think that it's important maybe to talk about some of the factors, because clearly I must have hit some.